La 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 la. All right, here we go, people. Hey, as promised, I'm here doing the TikTok live. How's it going? Oof, oof. Yeah, so here I am, as promised. I keep my promises to myself and to other people, and it is so warm out. I gotta share. It is delightfully yet unseasonably warm where I am right now. So hence, I don't know, maybe I got a hot flash or something. But anyhow, enough about me. So nice to see everybody kind of trickling in. For those who have not met me, hey, my name is Beth, but I'd much rather you remember Destination Decluttered. Oh, actually, you know what's funny? I got it on my t-shirt right now. I bought this for an event I'm doing with my sister in a couple of weeks. I'm just kind of sidekicking along with her with something. Good morning. But I am here for the next hour for you because I want to help you get unstuck. I want you to live a life you love. I want to help you figure out for yourself what the next right step is. You know, if you're overwhelmed, Irish Pink Milo, nice to see you. I am here, as you know. What I want to offer too is, as I said, I see people kind of tuning in. A couple of things. One is, rumor has it that it is really helpful for folks that are watching my TikTok lives to just kind of put it on like earbuds or something. I just realized I could put some earrings on while I'm talking. So to really just, use this time to actually move forward. Don't just think about it. Your head, your brain is does some good things, but if you spend all the time up here and not the time doing the things, it's not gonna move you on the road trip towards where you want your life to be, okay? So as a handy hint, because I have heard from other people who have tuned into my TikTok lives is put me on speakerphone, put me on earbuds, I don't know, do the thing that you can hear what I'm saying about clutter and how decluttering, it's just going to make your life feel so much better. It is. I guarantee, right? And so put the phone down, listen to me, and then start, okay? Susan, Live, Laugh, Life, Love, I see you're having trouble with important paperwork. I can talk about that. But before I do that, what I want to offer is if you can like or follow my TikTok page, that would be great. I do these TikTok lives to help you with your clutter often, but on different times of the day. So if you follow my page, you will be notified when I go live. So that's just handy for you. And it also lets me know that what I'm doing is helping. I try to help. Here I am doing what I can with what I have, as the saying says, where I am. And what I would love to do is just remind you that you're worth it. You're worth investing the time, even if it's literally just 20 minutes between now and 10 o'clock where you put the phone down and you start to declutter. Now, I'll give you some tips. I will not send you out on the road to declutter if you're saying, but I don't even know where to start. I will tell you where to start. This is, if we were coaching in my one-on-one coach, I would say start with the destination in mind. So before you even start, imagine what this little space in your life could look like, that it could look better, it could feel better just by you doing some simple things. Okay, and I see the word overwhelm, and I'm totally going to get to that, I promise, simply JDS. Okay, what I do every time I'm live, thank you. It was probably Make It Happen, McKay. I can help you with that, and I will. What I want to offer to everybody is if you're going to be starting decluttering now, start with the easiest, the shallowest end of the decluttering pool is going to be your surface clutter. So that's going to be the stuff that doesn't really have much emotional attachment. It's going to be looking around and literally seeing what is on horizontal surfaces of your home. So that's going to be clothing on the floor, trash on the floor, recycles on the floor, stuff that is where it doesn't belong. Start with that stuff. Start with the easy things and put the things that you know where they're to go, where they are to go. So trash goes in the trash barrel. Recycles goes in the recycles. Dirty laundry goes in a hamper. Collect up all your mail and put it in one place. Categorize your things, kind of like items together, and regain control over your environment, because that's going to help you with the overwhelm. So Make It Happen, McKay said, I feel so overwhelmed in life and in general, and this is handy because I'm back at my own desk. And what I want to offer is overwhelm. You have control over the overwhelm, okay? So overwhelm is like the giant is feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders above your head, right? Overwhelm feels like it's above you, but you have control over it. You can take your hands, even if you don't have an inflatable globe like I do. You can just take your hands and take some deep breaths. And you can say, I have control over this overwhelm. You can move your hands down and put the overwhelm now is below you. You can look down on it, and then you chop it down. It's below you. You're looking down on it. You say, oh, I was just looking at it too big. I need to chunk it down. And then you chunk it down into smaller bits, small enough so you figure out what's the one right thing I can do right now to get myself started. That works with decluttering. It works with frickin' everything, okay? I just want to say, I feel like I'm Aunt Mary Pat, all right? Anyhows, I'm not from Delco. I'm sorry, I'm just playing. Okay, so Susan mentioned something, having trouble with important paperwork. Now, not knowing the trouble is, what I will tell you is what I have found with paperwork is, first of all, even though they're most likely just a whole bunch of 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, there's different content in all of them. And anything you're overwhelmed with, you can chunk it down, and I say, like items together. Categorize things. So instead of having a whole pile of paper, you look through that pile and you don't make any decisions at the beginning except for categorizing. So categories of paperwork could fall into the following. Bills, statements of bills I need to pay. Statements of bills I have paid, but I want to keep the statements. Paperwork I got that I'm not quite sure what to do with, and I'm thinking like kind of official looking documents with health insurance and things like that. It looks important, but I'm not sure what to do with it. That is a category, okay? What else could you have? Here's a receipt from work somebody did for me. Chunk it down, and then instead of making 50 decisions on 50 pieces of paper, maybe you now have 5 categories that you can make one decision per category. I like to make this simple, and I really, whenever possible, I am taking the freaking drama out of it, okay? Because it's just a bunch of paper. And I say that to you having been there, having literally cried when I was doing my paperwork, my tax paperwork, when I first went from having, stable income from external sources to becoming an independent contractor. Oh my God, I was so dramatic about it. But at the end of the day, you can make some decisions about what your paperwork is. So again, those deep breaths saying, I have control over it. I can do this. You do good things, okay? So what I will say is, if you're feeling overwhelmed, look at what you're doing and see what categories you can put it into, and then make a decision. You file the things you want to save. The stuff you're not sure of, how much, file it just in case. If it gives you comfort to hang on to some paperwork, if you don't keep it, if you're gonna maybe, what am I trying to say? You're only gonna gain this much square inches of space in your life, but so maybe saving some of those papers is going to give you peace of mind. I do that and I never look at them, and then 7 years goes by and I bring them to the shredder, right? So I hope that helps with the overwhelm, and I hope that helps with your important paperwork, you, Susan, and everybody else. Because here's the deal, we are all in this together. We all struggle with our own stuff. And because we live in a society, in an environment, in a time of the world where there's more stuff than ever before, and there's more ways of getting stuff to us. I mean, during COVID, wasn't it wonderful that you could get stuff delivered when you were afraid to go out? But they make it so easy. So this is when you really have to kind of take control and say, I am in control. It's funny because the one thing you would miss, and so I'll be obvious about this when I talk about it for the people who have already put their phones down and are decluttering. So I take my hands and I put them above I take my hands in the air and I wave them like I just don't care. And then I say, I have control over the overwhelm. I pull it down below me and I say, I'm going to chunk this down. The other things I want to offer with your hands is, this is my metaphor, people, and I'm literally looking at a magnet from Jen Sincero, who is kind of my patron saint of self-help. It says, your attitude has the wheel. What I want to offer is, think of yourself, everybody, we are all in the driver's seat of our own lives. and I do this with my hands. For those of you not watching, I'm pretending like I'm holding a steering wheel, not like I'm in jail and let me out, right? I'm holding a steering wheel. We are all holding the steering wheels of our lives. And if we are not driving our lives towards what we want, and this is why I'm also now pointing at these map points behind me with a little car, a little dotted line, and a little destination. If you are not driving towards what you want, you are probably driving away from it. Because you really can't drive towards something and away from something at the same time, just like being in your car. This is another way I take the drama out of decluttering, because I make it relatable to stuff we know how to do, right? This is what will allow you to get out of freak out mode and get into action mode. To say, I can do this. I've done this before. I'm not going to let those stack of papers have control over me. I have control over the papers. And when I get, here's a destination where it says, somebody said where to start, and I say, start with your destination in mind. Sometimes the destination is as simple as, I am going to feel so much better after I have just gotten this done. I have been hemming and hawing for the longest time. I'm just going to freaking do it. And then I'm going to realize it's not that bad. So that can be an easy destination to go to. I want it to look different. I want my life, I want my home in my life to look different than it is now. And I want it to feel different than it is now. Now, I might differently, I don't know. I got to do a lolly, get your absorbs here, I think. But that's what I just want to offer is, what I offer is not just make your place look like Pinterest, buy a lot of crap, make it look good for a hot minute. No, I don't buy into that. What I want to say is, I want your home and your life to reflect who you are. It shouldn't look like a magazine. It should look exactly like how you are, and everything you have in your home should delight you, okay? I apologize if you hear a little background noise. It's so nice I have the windows open, okay? Hopopotamus, love your name. It says, we're about to move. Any advice? Yes, what I want to offer to everybody is, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to take stock of what you have. And again, that destination, now you have a legitimate destination in your life. That is, I am driving, we are moving our stuff from our home now to a new home. So envision that home you're moving into, and how do you want it to look and feel? You are at a wonderful point, because you are what most people envy, which is they wish they could kind of start with a clean slate and be intentional about what they put in. So this is why I love decluttering, because it is such kind of the gateway, easy peasy, shallow end of the pool way to really say, what's important to me in my life? What's important for me, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the things. What's important to me right now where I am? It may be some of the things that I have carried along with me. It may not. Maybe now's the time to drop the emotional baggage, to be like, oh, the physical baggage, I am done carrying this stuff around with me. I want to live lighter. I want to feel freer. I want to feel more flexible, right? So when you're moving, take stock of what you envision, how it would look and feel, and get specific about it in your new home. Now, I will offer this too. Sometimes you don't know until you get there, so you may have a fear that I call your backseat drivers, that's like, no, what if I need it? You know what? You're right. You may need it because you haven't lived in that home yet. But what I want to offer is, just know that once you get into that home and you're settled into it a bit, you should do another kind of gut check, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, and say, okay, what are the things that we brought from the other house that we realized don't fit? And then do another declutter of your new house. Again, getting clear on what's important to you, both before you move, but if you move with kind of too much stuff, that's okay. It happens to the best of us. I moved into this house with like 17 lamps and 4 couches, because I used to sell mid-century modern stuff, and I didn't know what couch was going to fit best in my living room, right? So what I want to offer is, just know that it's part of the process, that after you move in, you should do a declutter to say, is this working for us or not? Okay? Hope that helps. And boy, it looks like I've got a lot of messages. Yay, I have decluttered half of the volume. Now I'm really struggling. Okay, gift of growth. Here's a funny thing. We just got off of a, somebody just sent me a heart. That was very nice. I think of this sometimes, and granted it was Easter this past weekend for my family and me, so, well, I guess we could do it with ham, but think about sometimes when you're carving a turkey, how it's easy to cut off a lot of the stuff, really easy, but when you get close to the bone, that's when you have to get a little bit more delicate. So the volume of stuff you have, that's wonderful. You've cut it in half. This is where you're realizing that the stuff you're left with is telling you stories, that you have thoughts in your head that make you feel a certain way about your stuff. that's either allowing you to easily release it back into the wild so it can lighten up somebody, it can lighten your life up and delight somebody else, or you have a thought about your stuff that's making you cling on to it. So you feel a certain way to cling on to it and holding on to it. Okay? So gift of growth, what I would offer is listen to the stories that are in your head when you look at your stuff. And this is what I say. I say you should only surround yourself with stuff that you know are going to be useful and you believe to be beautiful. I know I'm kind of paraphrasing, what's his face? Philip Morris? Call for Philip Morris. No, that's it. Somebody. I'll Google it. But, is it beautiful? Does it bring joy to your eye and delight you and say, oh, that's cool. I love that thing. That makes me smile. Or is it something really useful? Oh, gosh, we shouldn't get rid of all the forks because we need forks, okay? So there's that. All right. Yep. Whenever I started with the hard stuff in the past, I had no energy left for the easy. Oh, yes, here's the cool thing. I want to just reassure everybody. So many of us never were taught how to declutter or a process to even start. When you have a process, when you have a system, processes and systems free you like you wouldn't believe, because they take your brain work out of it, that you just can rely on it. There's a certain process you do when you get into your car so that you don't have to have it top of mind all the time. So you can put that in there. And what I teach with my one-on-one coaching and with these TikTok lives that I do, and like next week I'm going to have a group Zoom call with just the people on my mailing list. If you go to my page here, there's like a links page. You can sign up for my mailing list on that and be invited to this Zoom call. But what I want to offer is when you have a system, when you say, I know what to do in this one room, and I can replicate that system in every room, and then it just becomes something you just do, that's when you can use your brain and the time in your life to do the things you really want to do. Okay? Okay, so overwhelmed with the laundry. What I want to say is there are going to be, and I hate to burst your bubble, we always think like things are going to be one and done. Like I'll do the laundry and I never have to do it again. Sorry. I think somebody's mowing their lawn or cutting down a tree. I hope you can hear me. Okay, let me see if I can do this. You know what? All right, well, we'll see how long that goes. I mean, this is live, so this is what happens when I get the windows open. But what I want to offer is, now I totally forgot what I was going to say. Overwhelm. Okay, so there are certain things in life that are going to be, there's a cycle. So the sooner you realize that it's a cycle and it's never really done, but you get cool with that and you take the drama out of it and you chunk it down so the cycle isn't like a roller coaster. It's more like the merry-go-round where you go a little up, a little down, a little up, a little down, and you just go around and around. That's what laundry is. That's what dirty dishes are. That's what taxes are. Even if it's only once a year, you have the same process you do once a year. Notice how I'm doing that kind of circle thing. So think of it as, instead of being on a roller coaster, wouldn't you feel better if you had to choose between those two? It feels a little bit better to just be on the roller, the merry-go-round. You know what? I'm just going to shut the window. Wasn't that funny? You guys got a little backstage look at everything that my bod is usually hiding, right? Let me tell you, this room was not always this way. There's pictures on the internet. There's all sorts of things of how this room wasn't. So, toy overwhelm. Okay, so that just popped up. Work full-time and evenings are busy. And what I want to say, Chris Starr, and to everybody, the timer, you've got a timer on your phone. You may not know this, but you do have one. And it's your friend. Set it for 10 minutes. Do some decluttering. That's all you need to do. You're going to be less cluttered 10 minutes from then than when you started. Set it for 20 minutes. Do 20 minutes of decluttering. Every time you show up, it's like driving on a road trip. That's why I have this thing of hungry. And for people who are decluttering and they can't watch me, I'm pointing to the map pins in the little car, because I want you to think of your life like a road trip. And I want you to realize that every time you show up and you move towards the destination that you want, it is like math. You are driving closer to it, no matter how much time you spend. The only time you don't make progress on your forward movement is when you don't do anything at all. Oh, thank you, Raisa, saying the window was fine. It was kind of bugging me and I get distracted. Bedroom clothes everywhere. Okay, so Stephanie Brown, I bet your clothes fall into maybe 3 categories. I know mine do. It's going to be clothes that are clean that need to be put away or are put away. Clothes that are dirty that should go in the hamper because I need to do them. Or you kind of got those like limbo clothes where they're kind of clean, but then they're like I could wear these again. Here's what I do. I have hooks on the back of all of, and I'm pointing, no, you can't see it, but I have hooks, multiple hook things on the backs of every single door in my house because you can't see them when you open the door. So when you're looking in the room, it doesn't look cluttered. But what I will also say is that totally making a place for those clothes you know you may not wear again and getting them off of the floor, getting them somewhere where you can access them and they're out of sight, kind of, that will help, okay? I love this. Mighty Determined just said, I'm starting to ask people to buy me birdseed instead of gifts for myself for my house. Yes. Now, people buy gifts because they've been programmed to. If you can offer them an alternative that they know will delight you, that's an awful start. I work every day and I'm so tired when I get home and I'll take the clean clothes and that, okay, and get it. I get the tiredness, okay? So chunk it down. Could you do 5 minutes? Here's the thing. Put your timer on for 5 minutes. Pick up some clothes. When the timer's done, you have now decluttered. Every little bit helps. I don't care if it says, you think you need to wait till you got, that's going to be the merry-go-round feeling versus the roller coaster of waiting for it to get big and then taking your entire Saturday and doing all your cleaning. No, you want to do a little bit at a time to get it so it doesn't get to crisis, so that when the weekends come, you can go out and enjoy beautiful weather. You can spend your time sleeping in. You can do whatever the F you want because you don't have to clean up mounds of clutter. Okay? Yeah, seriously, I use it all the time myself. I time my morning walks because I know if I don't watch it, I'll either underwalk or overwalk and I'll get, whatever. So use the timer. And here's the thing too, nobody's mentioned this yet, but if anybody here struggles with ADHD, either diagnosed officially or self-diagnosed, using your timer is going to help you build your focusing muscle. It is also going to allow you to get a dopamine hit and think of success of, I did some decluttering, even if it's only 5, 10, 15 minutes. You set that timer, you focus for that amount of time, you put stuff where it belongs. If the timer goes off, you give yourself a Liz Lemon high five and you say, look at me. I didn't do nothing. I drove 5 minutes towards my destination. And then you show up and you show up and you do a little bit at a time. When you feel better and you're getting into the groove, you show up for more. The more you show up, the quicker you'll get there. I mean, again, it's just like math. If I want to drive from here to Palm Springs, it would take me 40 hours. So that's 4 hours, 4 10-hour days or 10 4-hour days, the more you show up. But what I want to offer with that too is do not burn yourself out. Can you imagine how crappy I would feel if I drove 4 10-hour days in a row? By the time I got to my destination, I'd be exhausted. I also want to enjoy the drive. I want to enjoy my life while I'm going through it. So your life is a journey. Your life is a road trip. It's not like this hell-bent, white knuckling it till you get there and then you show up exhausted. It's not the Boston Marathon. You want to be enjoying the trip, okay? Expired over-the-counter bottles of medicines, vitamins, and lotions. Why can't I? I don't know, Martha. Why can't you throw them away? Listen to what your brain says, okay? Your brain is whispering something in your ear. It's probably, telling you to cling on to it. What is that thing that's making you feel like, I can't throw these away? And then once you realize that, and even write it down, I am such a stickler for the benefits of getting your thoughts out of your brain onto paper or a digital document where you can see them. Because that's when you're going to realize that the problems that you were afraid of are just big shadows behind you. And what's really causing the shadow is some little kid in the back seat, a scared little kid in the back seat in their, what do you call them, car seats that are like, no, don't do that. You might need that someday. It's not this big scary thing, but you don't know that until you get that thought written down, how little and tiny and kid-like your thoughts are. I'm going to get in trouble. This is going to be hard. They're not going to like me. I'm afraid of changing. All these things sound like grade school kids, but we all have them in us, yeah. I have spools of thread. How to organize? I don't know. Get a box and put them in there, maybe by color. I would get, here's another thing too, is everybody who owns any kind of tool, any kind of creative tool, that there are certain things, like I write a lot, so I want to have really good pens. They don't need to be expensive, but they need to fit what I do. I'm left-handed, so I don't want anything that's smushy. I like black ink as opposed to blue ink. I don't like too fine a point because it's too fine a point on it. So I don't do this. So I found what works for me and I do that. Anything else that doesn't work. So your thread, are you using them all? If you're not, maybe you can whittle it down so you don't have as many to organize. You keep the things around you. And here I am pointing to that kind of pinpoint on the map of you are here in your life. I was actually going to do a video this weekend when we were driving up on the Jersey Turnpike, and I specifically wanted to stop at a turnpike because they usually have like those maps that are there that say you are here. Well, this one did end up being one of these modern ones that didn't have one. But what I want to think of is think of your life. Your life, you're on a journey. Where's my map? I love maps. I love maps, okay? So here you are in your life. You're on a point in the map. Where do you want to go? Where are you excited? Where have you been? What did you learn? You know, do the things that are getting to where you want to go. Okay. Good morning, Bonnie Esther. Nice to see you. I can hear my light mother saying I paid good money for that, and I love this. My mom's china that she loved. I don't love it. You guys are bringing up so much good points. Oh, thank you, good German May 95. Cool T-shirt. Yeah, I don't expect you guys to want these, but I'm doing an event with my sister down in Havre de Grace, Maryland, in a few weeks, and I figured, you know, might as well use my chest as a salesperson. So here's what I want to offer about the mom stuff. The voice in your head. Notice it's not even your voice. Your mother's voice in your head. You have internalized that to hang on to that. Anybody, it doesn't have to be your mother's voice in your head. Anybody who is saying to yourself, but I paid good money for that. Yes, you did. You paid money for it. You will most likely, most things in life, we will never get the money back when we go to sell it or give it away. So you're going to hang on to it and make yourself miserable, or are you going to say, it's time for me to release it and maybe somebody else can enjoy it, right? In economics, they call it the sunk cost, the amount of money that you sunk in to get something. And the worst thing you can do is to not absolve yourself of the sunk cost. Think of it as a lesson learned, and you'll say, I learned from that. Maybe I won't buy that thing again. Or, oh, well, I'm human. This is going to happen in my life over and over again, so just get cool with it. And release the things as soon as you find out they're not working for you. And here's what I want to offer too. Your mom's china. She loved it. That's great. She enjoyed it. You are under no obligation to like anything that anybody donates that hands down to you. They have their styles. I know this because I love, and I have for pretty much my entire life, mid-century modern, Art Deco, 20th century, all this cool stuff. My parents didn't like that. That's not how we grew up. And it's okay for me to say, no, I love you, but I don't love your whale oil lamp from Nantucket. Okay? Stand up for yourself. What's important to you right now? Okay? But what I want to offer, Peaceful Dyes, and anybody who is struggling with the mom's china, the grandma's china, is maybe there's somebody out there who loves that pattern. There could be somebody out there who is looking to complete their set or just starting out. Maybe your mom's china is now vintage or retro or antique for somebody else who's looking for something like that. So it's just sitting there bumming you out, weighing you down, instead of you finding ways to get it out into the world. Okay, so think of how everybody, this is a really good lesson with the decluttering, is how your excess, the stuff you don't want, could actually light up somebody else's life. And you'll never know that while it's sitting there, weighing you down, making you feel bad in the bottom of a closet. I have had some wonderful interactions with people that we have sold things to, given things to, donated. It's a wonderful feeling of just flow. When you're like, I don't need this, I'm removing it from my life, and I'm going to offer it so somebody else can be delighted by it. Okay? How about when decluttering to decide to donate or sell? Best use of time. Reza, exactly. Yeah. What's the best use of your time? Only you can answer that. And I've done all of them. I have sold things formally and informally. I have given away things for free. I have donated them. I have done all the things. And what I want to offer is it really depends on where you want to spend your time. Think about it. Talk about sunk costs. Any time, notice how we use the word spending your time and we spend money. Like, you will never, this may sound horrible, but you will never get your time back. We can never, with very few exceptions, we can pretend we can buy time, but once time is passed, it is gone. So really be curious about, how do I want to spend my time? Is the money that I'm going to make selling this item worth the investment? Notice the investment of my time for it. What is my hourly rate to just exist? And if whatever I'm going to make is less than that, donate it and free up yourself and pay yourself more. Do something you like. Okay. Raisa says, my wife has a lot of shoes. Maybe add 2 extra shelves in the closet. They are in our room. You can do that. What I want to offer to everybody is right now, it's a beautiful spring day where I am. Whatever the reason is, consider today being the day that you decide to say, do I really need all these things? Do it with yourself first. You might even raise out, say you said your wife, so it's her shoes. You really shouldn't make decisions for other people, but what you can say is, hey, I saw this lady on TikTok, Destination Decluttered, and she was talking about why not make today the day, saying, do I really wear all these shoes? Have I worn them? You know, our tastes change, our styles change, our feet change. My pre-COVID shoes that I wore to my corporate job don't fit me comfortably. I don't have that job anymore. I don't want them, so I was able to remove them. So before you start to store them, the mantra for, okay, I'm gonna kind of pull it back so everybody gets. So there's 3 levels of clutter. There's surface clutter, there's stored clutter, and there's sentimental clutter. What you're talking about is shoes. So a category of shoes that need to be stored. And what you should always do before you even buy a thing to store things in is sort it. Sort it before you store it, okay? And what that means is going through your shoes and saying, do I wear these or not? Knowing that there's going to be somebody out there who would probably love those shoes, okay? And then once you go through them and you say, yes, these are the shoes I wear now, then you have a better idea of what space you need for them. It's that decision making. Somebody said something about decisions, and it's kind of flipping past, but I want to offer, yeah, it's all decision making. It is. But the cool thing is, when you are practicing, when you're building your decision making muscle with this thought in mind of, what do I want my life now to look like? What do I want it to feel like? And what do I want to feel like in the future? When you have that in your mind as you're making that decision, that kind of almost like gives you that baseline to say, is this shoes? Are these shoes going to make me comfortable? Are these shoes going to make me feel powerful? Are these shoes going to make me feel relaxed? Whatever it is you want your life to look and feel like, is that item going to add to that or detract from it? Okay? So hopefully that helps. Funny. I don't think I'm going to, probably 20, 25 bucks maybe for the shirts. I wasn't planning on selling them, but if you're interested, I can put up a link. This was just for me because I'm going to be doing a vintage thing. My sister, I used to sell vintage stuff. There's I guess I'll do a plug for it, is Joe Retro Vintage in Havre de Grace, Maryland is having this thing called the Pyrex and Vintage Sale. So my sister from Massachusetts, actually Mad Mama Vintage in Stoughton, Massachusetts, she sells vintage things up there, and she's coming down to do some vending, and she wanted my help, and so I said, okay, I'll come along. Now, I have decluttered my stuff so much that I have very few things to sell. You know, I'll probably have like a little tote of something, but I thought what I can do is I'll go there, I'll have my Destination Decluttered t-shirt on. I made this, what do you call it, like a drink thing that doesn't work as well as I wanted to, so I'm not going to offer it for sale, but I will be drinking from it, so in case people there at the vintage thing are wondering about decluttering, I can talk to them about that. So thank you very much. Nice to see you. Previous job notes and binders. Yeah, what I would say is recycle the notes and donate the binders. Boom, done. After scanning in photos, what do I do with the actual photos? So here's an interesting thing, is I want to offer that unless the, okay, so here's where I kind of I'm Gen X, so I'm between the worlds. I know what it was like when you only could have a paper copy, and I am also fully invested in, like, the digital world. But what I feel like is if there are some pictures that are those one-of-a-kind, pre-1980s, whatever your notion is of, like, what are the pictures that you would want to ensure that if all those digital files failed, that 100 years from today, that you were starting kind of like your family tree, and what are those old-timey photos? Not every single one of them, maybe, but what would be, like, get yourself a box, get yourself a box, Jason. Get yourself a an acid-free box. I say this, I was an art history major, so I know about museum curation and things like that. Get an acid-free box of a certain size, not too big, and then say to yourself, I'm building this almost like this time capsule of photos to then be passed along from generation to generation. If on the off chance that suddenly, all the digital stuff goes bye-bye, that at least you will have, a good picture of your family, that the pictures that you're in, you look good in, all that kind of stuff. It's only going to take a small amount. Like I've got some boxes down here. I don't know if you can see them, right? They're not acidic, they're cheapos. But what I want to say is don't get rid of all of it, but you can certainly, like your future generations 100 years from now would probably be really interested to see great-grandfather so-and-so when they only had that one black and white photo. Do they need to see all the pictures of the time that you went with your friends to Key West? Probably not. Maybe they don't need to see any. So decide on yourself. What are the ones you'd want somebody to see 100 years from today? Get yourself a box and say, once that box is full, I can't put any more in there, okay? Hope that helps. So Susan says, 9 months since my mom passed, still struggling to focus and declutter, but I'm trying. Okay. What I want to offer with everybody, remember I said earlier, this is where you learn, this is the process. I love to teach process. I was a freaking process engineer, which I railed against at the time, though I knew it fed a certain part of my life because it makes things better. But here, think of clutter in 3 layers or 3 sections of your road trip, okay? We'll try it this way. First, you deal with surface clutter. Then you deal with stored clutter. And then the very last thing you deal with is sentimental clutter. Now, Susan, when you're talking about the stuff that is because your mom passed, that is sentimental, like beyond all get out. So what I will say is this about sentimental clutter is work on the first 2 ones first to build your decision-making muscle, to decide what are the things, what are the physical objects I want in my life that are going to add from my life to the way I want my life to look and feel now and in the future. Okay, so start with baby weights, I always say that starting with your sentimental clutter is like walking into the gym on the first day and trying to lift a 500-pound barbell. It's not going to work. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to feel bad. You're never going to show up again. But if you walk over to like those little pink weights, 2-pound weights, you're like, I can do this. So that's what the surface clutter is. Then when you graduate from your surface clutter, you go into your stored clutter where you're sorting and you're storing and you're really, again, identifying what is working for you or not. And then the last one is sentimental clutter. So sentimental clutter is going to make you feel the feels. It's going to make you feel feelings. And what I want to say is honor that. Feel the feelings, allow them to pass through you, and then just honor that. They're not going to be all bad feelings. You may get a little teary because your mom died. Of course, you're a human. We are not robots and we are not zombies, right? The other thing I want to just share with you too, to know what's going on that road trip, is that's the part of the journey where you are going to, just for your own self-preservation, show up for shorter amounts of time, because that's going to be clutter that is going to emotionally drain you. It is going to be emotional decisions. So it's once the heart is involved with the mind, then this burns a lot of gas. This burns some energy, okay? And so just take care of yourself while you're going through the process. A little bit at a time will work. I will also offer to anybody is the people in our lives that are past, they now, to me, this is how I look at it, they now kind of get it. What's that? Enlightenment. They understand. They're looking down from above saying, oh man, like we thought that stuff was going to make us happy and it didn't. We know that it's so much bigger than that. It's about love and friendship, and it's not about stuff. And so I would like to think that your mom kind of, even if she wasn't like this in real life, because I say this about my dad, he collected all sorts of stuff. He was very clingy about that stuff. But once you die, you get insight into everything. And you get that. So think of your now enlightened mother saying, hun, don't waste the precious life you have being unhappy with the stuff that I had. Get it out of your life and start living. That's what I wish I could do, and I can't. Okay? So your best mom, the mom that lives in your heart, she just wants you to be happy, so do what's going to make you happy, okay? That's what I say, and I hope it helps. Thank you. Happy spring to you, too. Thank you for my glasses. I got to go to the eye doctor. I got to get them adjusted, but thank you. Macro, micro cleaning, tomato, potato. Let's claw the whole thing off. This is how it made sense to me. This is how it makes sense to me. I found, and especially with self-help, even without decluttering, using language that made sense to me, like, just made it so much easier to learn. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you. Like when I'm reading self-help books and they're talking about like your id and your ego and your super ego and this thing and that thing and, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, who's the id again? Who's my ego? Like it just was such an effort. So that's why I talk about like the layers of clutter. I frame things in a way that I can understand it. As soon as I said to myself, why not try planning your life like the road trips that I used to? I can plan a kick-ass road trip. I've been paid to create vintage road trips for people. I've written books on road tripping, right? But while I was doing that, my road trips were great, but my life was kind of all over the place. Clutter, brain, career, all that. When I finally said, I can plan a kick-ass road trip, why can't, okay. Why can't I, sorry, I got a message. Everything's okay. Sorry. Why can't I plan my life like a road trip? And then when I said, I don't know, why don't you try? And then I realized, well, what would I do if I was on a road trip? Well, I'd want to be excited about where I was headed. Am I excited about where I am headed now? No. All right, well, what would I be excited about? What do I want this room to look like? What do I want my life to feel like? How do I want to live? Do I want to be at a 9 to 5? Do I want to travel? All those things. But starting to say, what do I want my life to look like? And what am I doing? Is what I'm doing leaning towards that or away? Okay? So I just want to offer that too. Okay? Flash drives and external hard drives do fail. Always have multiple copies, back up to the cloud. And just also, here's the other thing too, is realize that even the most well-intentioned things, like paper things can be lost in fires and flood. Electricity can goes out. If we kind of loosen our grip on physical stuff and remember that the stories live on in our hearts and to share the stories with people so they live in their minds, that would be a good way of passing down the generations and stuff. Okay, Evelyn is saying, I have a collection of porcelain dolls that I kept in box, never used 20 years ago. They're expensive. They may have been expensive then. They may be expensive now. If you want to sell them, here's to everybody. Evelyn, thank you for the wonderful question or comment, because what I want to offer is you may have spent a lot of money on something at one point, and this happened specifically. I was helping my mother clean out some of my dad's stuff. He spent a lot of money on some books that when we went to go get them out of the house because she wasn't reading them and we thought we would release them to the wild, and and he had spent a lot of money on them back then, but they weren't worth that money now. We could barely give them away. We got some money for them, but if you are interested in selling any of your items, before you even make that decision, go and do some research online. Look at eBay, look at Etsy, do a Google search, and look for not how much people are asking, because look for the stuff that how much people have sold items for, what they actually got for them. Somebody can ask. This is even when I used to go antiquing with my dad. I'd be like, oh my gosh, look at how much they're getting for that. And he's like, no. They're not getting that. They're asking that money, but they may not be getting that. So look at sold things of what you're doing, okay? Okay, there we go. Thank you. And thank you, German Maid and Italian Bella. Look, we're so international, aren't we? Yes, I do upload these to the Destination Decluttered, what do you call it, YouTube page. I also am on Destination Decluttered on Instagram, Destination Decluttered on Facebook, Destination Decluttered on YouTube, Destination Decluttered here on TikTok. Tomorrow I'm going to be showing up and doing some more TikTok lives, and I'm going to be on all 4 of them for like a half an hour. And what I want to offer is, if you know somebody who is struggling with clutter, let them know that there's help out there. Let them know that I'm out there, that there is help for what you're struggling with. Also, what I'm going to do, honestly, is I'm going to be really honest and sincere with you all right now, because I'm getting some messages in from my family. Everything is okay, but I really think it's important that normally I said I was going to be here for the next 15 minutes. But again, thinking of what's important to me right now is I want to read these messages that are coming through from my fam. I want to make sure everything's okay and that I'm dealing with things in a timely manner. I know that everything I've said right now is going to help you where you want to go. And what I want to say, thank you, Bonnie, and I appreciate that, but I just want to be real, because even now when I'm trying to talk to you, you're not getting the best of me because my brain is with other things, okay? But before I wrap up, and I will take care, thank you so much, you guys. just like my TikTok page so you find out tomorrow. I posted a video that says when I'm going to show up tomorrow. I think it's like 9 to 11. I'm going to be on all my 4 stations. If you need help with decluttering, I do one-on-one coaching. You can find out that on my website. You can also see where I am on the different pages. Let people know that you know are struggling, okay? And thank you very much for showing up right now. And I'm just going to make sure everything's okay with my family, okay? You do the same with yours. All right, bye.